The lights were hot. The room was still. And then she screamed. Candace Owens, the self-styled queen of outrage, broke the silence with a voice that cracked like thunder across the auditorium. Her words weren't just loud, they were sharp. Meant to cut, meant to humiliate. The crowd shifted in their seats, some gasping, others whispering. As the energy in the room tilted from tense anticipation to open shock, this wasn't a debate anymore, it was a spectacle. Candace's veins tight in her neck, pointed, jabbed, accused. Every syllable carried the force of someone desperate, not just to win an argument, but to dominate it. The microphone strained against her volume. The cameras zoomed in closer, and the entire nation watching live felt that familiar cocktail of fascination and dread. Jasmine Crockett sat across from her, the picture of composure. While Candace's voice rose higher and higher, Jasmine didn't flinch. She didn't roll her eyes. She didn't fold her arms in mock defense. Instead, she simply sat there, still, calm, almost serene as though she were listening to the storm but not stepping into it. That contrast was magnetic. One woman was fire, the other was stone, and the audience could not look away. People in the crowd leaned forward. Phones tilted toward the stage, eager to capture the eruption. This wasn't just another political panel, this was a cultural flashpoint unfolding live, a moment destined to spill from one room into every corner of the internet. Hashtags were already brewing before the first sentence was even finished. Candace's voice cracked once more, the force of her anger eclipsing the meaning of her words. To her, the roar was the power, but the silence that followed, held in Jasmine's hands, was the real weapon. It was a silence heavy with restraint, with calculation, the patience that only comes from someone who has weathered storms far greater than this. The crowd sensed it, the turning of the tide. Something was about to happen. As Candace's fury echoed one last time, the room seemed to hold its breath. Every eye, every lens, every heartbeat shifted toward Jasmine Crockett, because what she did next would not just be a response. It would be history. But what Jasmine did next shocked everyone in the room. The eruption on stage wasn't happening in a vacuum. This wasn't just a clash of personalities. It was the collision of two Americas. Behind Candace Owens' scream stood years of cultivated outrage, a persona sharpened in television studios and online echo chambers. Behind Jasmine Crockett's silence stood the weight of history, centuries of women told to sit down, to be quiet, to take insults without reply. Tonight, those two forces were on a collision course, and everyone in the room knew it. The auditorium itself seemed alive. Bright lights pressed down like interrogation lamps, magnifying every twitch of expression. Cameras clicked, phones streamed. The air smelled faintly of nerves and sweat, charged with the unmistakable electricity of something bigger than politics. It wasn't about party lines anymore. It was about dignity, about who gets to own the stage in America. The stakes stretched beyond the walls of that hall. People watching at home saw themselves in the women before them, immigrant families who had been silenced in classrooms, workplaces, and boardrooms leaned closer to their screens. Young activists, who'd been told they were too emotional or too loud, found validation in seeing Candace's fury unravel while Jasmine sat still, quiet, waiting. This wasn't just about one insult. It was about the universal question: when the storm comes for you, do you rise or do you fold? Candace wanted the moment to be hers. She wanted the clip of her voice raised, finger jabbing, to circle social media as proof of her dominance. But what she hadn't counted on was the power of contrast. For every ounce of noise she hurled, Jasmine answered with composure. And in that imbalance, the audience sensed something seismic. The crowd's reactions shifted with each passing second. At first, there were murmurs, nervous laughs, awkward coughs, a few claps for Candace's theatrics. But as Jasmine's silence stretched, those murmurs turned into whispers of anticipation. People began looking at her, not Candace, waiting for the inevitable strike. They weren't siding with noise anymore. They were gravitating toward calm. And that's where the stakes crystallized, because this wasn't just entertainment. was identity, representation, a test of whether America would cheer for the scream or the silence, or provocation or principle. Each second dragged like an eternity, and with every breath Jasmine took, the expectation grew heavier. Then came the FOMO moment. Phones lifted higher. Twitter timelines exploded with half-formed captions. She's screaming at Jasmine, and Jasmine hasn't even spoken yet. TikToks popped up with the caption WAIT for her response. The world outside the room was leaning forward just as much as the people inside it. No one wanted to miss what came next. And yet Jasmine still waited, still calm, still steady. She let Candace's voice echo into exhaustion until the force of her rage began to collapse under its own weight. The cameras cut to Jasmine's face, and her eyes were locked, sharp, unshaken. She hadn't said a word, and already she was winning, but silence cannot last forever. The storm demanded an answer. And as Candace's fury gave way to a pause heavy enough to crack the night in two, Jasmine finally leaned forward. The audience froze, sensing that the moment of eruption was no longer about Candace's scream. It was about the reply everyone had been waiting for, and that reply was about to change everything. Candace Owens was never supposed to be silent. From the moment she stepped into America's political spotlight, her brand was built on volume, on speaking louder, sharper, and more aggressively than anyone else in the room. Her rise wasn't an accident. It was engineered. With every viral soundbite, every headline crafted to provoke, she carved out a space as the firebrand, unafraid to shout what others only dared whisper. But the truth is, Candace didn't just thrive on controversies. She depended on it. Her backstory reads like a deliberate creation of a character. Once hailed by conservatives as a symbol of rebellion against the so-called mainstream narrative, voice. Her critiques weren't measured arguments. They were barbed arrows, designed to pierce, inflame, and distract. Each television appearance, each podcast rant, each campus speech was another brick in the fortress of her public identity. Candace Owens, the unflinching warrior who never backed down. But behind the performance lay contradictions. She claimed to speak truth to power, yet often wielded her platform in defense of those already powerful. She denounced identity politics while making her own identity the centerpiece of her career. She claimed to champion free thought, yet silenced dissent by drowning it under the sheer force of her tone. And those contradictions mattered because in moments like tonight, they began to show. The truth is, Candace was addicted to the spectacle. She needed confrontation the way a performer needs applause. When she raised her voice on stage, she wasn't just debating Jasmine Crockett. She was feeding an audience she imagined an invisible crowd of online cheerleaders who expected her to dominate. For Candace, every clash was content. Every raised eyebrow, every viral clip, another opportunity to keep herself trending. But there's a risk in living off spectacle when the show falters. The mask slips, and the mask was slipping tonight. The cracks had been there before. Journalists had called out her selective outrage. Former allies had accused her of chasing fame over substance. Viral moments that once crowned her the queen of controversy began to backfire, fueling mockery instead of admiration. And through it all, her greatest weakness emerged, an inability to remain composed when control slipped from her grasp. That weakness was on display now. Her scream wasn't power. It was panic dressed as dominance. It was the sound of someone who believed volume could still command the room. Yet even as her words rattled across the stage, the balance of power shifted. Because while Candace shouted, Jasmine Crockett sat still. And in that stillness, Candace's contradictions were amplified for everyone to see. The audience wasn't blind. They saw the sharpness in Candace's tone, the smirk that flickered into frustration, the way her confidence teetered every time Jasmine refused to react. For years, Candace had thrived by rattling her opponents into chaos. But what happens when the opponent refuses to move? That's the paradox of the antagonist. Their strength often carries the seed of their downfall. Candace's refusal to back down had once made her a star. Tonight it was making her unravel. Every word spoken louder than the last wasn't commanding authority, it was revealing desperation. And that's why the stage felt so tense. Because deep down, the audience recognized the unraveling of a character who had always seemed invincible. They'd seen this act before, but never against someone like Jasmine Crockett. Never against someone who could weaponize silence more effectively than Candace could weaponize sound. The irony was thick. Candace had built her career insisting. She was fearless, that she could face any opponent without blinking. Yet here she was, screaming at a woman who hadn't even spoken yet, and already losing ground. For Candace, this confrontation was supposed to be another victory lap, another clip to cement her dominance online. Instead, it was exposing the fragility beneath the performance. Her greatest weapon, her voice, was turning against her. The audience didn't know it yet, but this was the beginning of her downfall. And Jasmine Crockett, by doing nothing more than waiting, was about to turn Candace Owens' own playbook against her. But to understand why Jasmine's calm would matter so much, you need to know the woman behind that silence. You need to understand the storms she had weathered, the battles she had already fought, the fire she had endured without breaking. Because the moment that followed wasn't just a response to Candace's scream. It was the culmination of a life built on resilience, and Jasmine's story was about to take center stage. Long before Jasmine Crockett sat on that stage beneath the blinding lights. Long before she leaned forward to deliver the answer the world was waiting for, she had already lived through storms that made this moment feel almost inevitable. To some, Jasmine was just a congresswoman from Texas. To others, she was a rising political star. But to those who knew her story, she was something far greater, a living testament to resilience. A woman whose entire life had been a quiet preparation for nights exactly like this one. Jasmine grew up knowing what it meant to be underestimated. In classrooms, in workplaces, even in her early days of law, she learned quickly that brilliance alone wasn't enough. For women who looked like her, the burden was always heavier, the scrutiny harsher, the margin for error smaller. But rather than break under that weight, she learned to carry it with dignity. Where others cracked, she built muscle. Where others grew bitter, she grew sharper. Law was her proving ground. In Texas courtrooms, Jasmine defended those society often abandoned people who didn't have wealth, privilege, or connections. She faced off against prosecutors who dismissed her, judges who underestimated her, and opponents who mistook her kindness for weakness. Every trial was a battle, every verdict a reminder that dignity wasn't given, it was fought for. By the time she stepped into politics, she had already mastered the art of being calm under pressure, of dismantling arrogance, not with rage, but with precision. That calm wasn't passive, it was powerful. It was the calm of someone who had stared down injustice too many times to be rattled by a raised voice. It was the calm of someone who understood that real strength doesn't shout. It waits, it listens, it chooses its moment. And it was exactly that calm which now held the audience captive on this night. Her journey into public service was fueled by more than ambition. It was born from a deep conviction that people deserved representation rooted in truth, not spectacle. Unlike her opponent, Jasmine never built her identity on performance. She built it on service. She showed up for her community when cameras weren't rolling. She pushed for policies that protected the vulnerable when no headlines were at stake. She wasn't there to entertain, she was there to fight for dignity, and that distinction mattered. On this stage, that difference became painfully clear. Candace Owens thrived on sound bites. Jasmine Crockett thrived on substance. And while Candace roared, Jasmine's silence carried decades of lived experience. Each second weighted with the resilience of someone who had been screamed at before and survived. The audience might not have known all the details of Jasmine's backstory, but they felt it in her presence. They felt it in the steadiness of her gaze, in the patience that wrapped around her like armor. When Candace's fury filled the room, Jasmine didn't just sit quietly. She sat like a woman who had fought harder battles and come out stronger. That presence spoke louder than any words could in the moment. But what made Jasmine's story so compelling wasn't just her endurance. It was her ability to transform adversity into fuel. Every insult she had faced as a young black woman in politics became a lesson. Every dismissal, every slight, every time she was told she didn't belong, it all crystallized into a quiet fire that burned steady, not wild. She carried that fire into this stage, and it glowed brighter the longer Candace screamed. Her supporters knew it too. In the days leading up to the event, social media had buzzed with excitement. People weren't just tuning in to watch another debate, they were tuning in to watch Jasmine Crockett. They saw in her a reflection of themselves, calm when disrespected, resilient when doubted, fierce without needing to be loud. For immigrants, for women of color, for anyone who had ever been silenced or belittled, Jasmine represented validation, and validation was exactly what this moment was building toward. Because everyone in the room sensed it, Candace's scream wasn't going to be the headline. Jasmine's response was, the quiet dignity she carried was the setup to a reply that would cut deeper than any shout ever could. As the seconds stretched on, as Candace's voice ricocheted, and then began to falter. The weight of Jasmine's story pressed down invisibly on the stage. The crowd didn't just want her to respond, they needed her to. They needed to see that composure, born of years of resilience, finally crystallize into action. And Jasmine knew it. She could feel the eyes, the pressure, the anticipation. If her life had taught her anything, it was this. Timing is everything. You don't rush a reply. You don't meet rage with rage. You wait until the silence is heaviest, until the arrogance has spent itself, until the room is desperate for release. Then you strike. That was the art Jasmine had mastered through a lifetime of trials. And tonight, that art was about to transform a scream into a lesson. The crowd didn't yet know the words she would choose, didn't yet know the precise way she would flip the entire exchange on its head. But they could sense it. The calm before the storm wasn't weakness. It was preparation. And as Jasmine finally inhaled, leaning forward, steady eyes locked on Candace. The anticipation was unbearable. The room was ready. America was ready. And Jasmine Crockett was ready. What she was about to say would not just defend her dignity, it would rewrite the story of the night. The silence broke. It's not with Jasmine's voice, but with the sharp crack of Candace's words slamming once again into the air. She couldn't help herself. The more Jasmine remained steady, the more Candace unraveled, her tone growing harsher, her gestures more exaggerated, her need for control more obvious. She jabbed her finger toward Jasmine, her words a cascade of accusations meant to provoke, to bait, to pull her opponent into the same storm of noise. But Jasmine refused to bite. The escalation unfolded like a play. Candace's voice rose, then cracked, then rose again. The rhythm of someone who had lost her audience but didn't know how to stop performing. She tried to laugh, but it rang hollow. She tried to command the crowd, but the crowd's attention was already slipping away. Because while Candace thundered, the eyes of the audience weren't on her, they were on Jasmine, waiting for the inevitable. That imbalance drove Candace further. She spoke over the moderator, drowned out murmurs from the crowd, pushed every ounce of her voice toward dominance. Yet, with every passing second, her energy looked less like confidence and more like desperation. The louder she grew, the smaller she seemed. And then, Jasmine moved. Not with words yet, but with the simplest act. She leaned forward, folded her hands, and tilted her head slightly as if to say, "Are you finished?" The gesture sent a ripple through the room, subtle shift, but the impact was seismic. For the first time, Candace faltered, stumbling over a phrase, her rhythm breaking as though Jasmine's quiet poise had sliced straight through the noise. The tension ratcheted higher. The crowd felt it. Phones rose again, lenses zoomed in, people, whispering under their breath. They weren't there for Candace's fury anymore, they were there for Jasmine's patience. Every second that passed without a reply was a second the pressure grew unbearable. Candace, sensing the shift, tried to claw the attention back. She accused, she mocked, she delivered barbs that once might have landed, but tonight they fell flat. It wasn't that the words had changed, it was that the audience had. The people in the room, and the millions watching online, had already begun to shift sides. They weren't inspired by volume anymore. They were captivated by silence, by the weight of composure. Jasmine finally shifted again, her eyes narrowing ever so slightly, her lips pressing together as if holding back the first syllables of a reply. The room hushed instantly. Even mid-sentence seemed to sense it the inevitable turn. Her words trailed, her eyes darting toward Jasmine, waiting for the blow she knew was coming. But Jasmine didn't speak. Not yet. She let the silence stretch like a taut wire, the suspense tightening until it was almost unbearable. Candace tried to fill it, blurting out another jab, but the effort only highlighted how much control she had already lost. The power wasn't in the scream anymore. It was in the pause. And that pause belonged to Jasmine. The escalation wasn't about who could shout louder. It was about who could command the room. And at that exact moment, Jasmine Crockett commanded everything. Audience leaned in, breaths caught, hands gripping their seats, waiting for the release of tension. They could feel that the story was no longer about Candace's outburst. It was about the quiet, steady strength of the woman sitting across from her. Then Jasmine inhaled, slow and deliberate, her eyes never leaving her opponents, and for the first time all night, Candace Owens fell silent. The room froze. Cameras clicked. The world held its breath, because Jasmine was about to speak. And what came next would change the night forever. When Jasmine Crockett finally opened her mouth, the silence in the room was so thick it felt like glass ready to shatter. Her voice was not loud, not hurried, not frantic. It was measured, calm, steady, precise, the kind of voice that doesn't need to scream because it already knows it carries the truth. And that was the contrast that split the room in two. "Are you done?" she asked softly, not with arrogance, but with a composure that sliced deeper than any insult. The words landed like a stone in still water, rippling outward through the audience. Some laughed nervously, others clapped, and in the corner, a camera flash immortalized Candace's frozen expression. Candace tried to interject, to reclaim the energy, but Jasmine lifted her hand ever so slightly, a simple, polite gesture that commanded silence. And the remarkable thing, the crowd obeyed. For the first time all night, Candace Owens had no sound to hide behind. Jasmine leaned in, her gaze locked on her opponent, her words deliberate. "See, here's the thing. You can scream at me, you can throw insults, you can raise your voice as high as you like. But volume doesn't equal truth. What you just showed this audience is not strength, it's desperation." The gasp that rippled through the auditorium was palpable. Phones shot upward. Hashtags were being born in real time. Hashtag volume is not truth flashed across Twitter within seconds, a rallying cry that would trend by morning. Jasmine continued, her tone unwavering. "Strength," she said, pausing to let the word hang heavy in the air, "is standing tall when someone tries to tear you down. Strength is knowing your identity, your purpose, your truth, and not letting anyone scream shake it. And tonight," she pointed not at Candace, but to the audience, "tonight, every single person here saw the difference between noise and dignity." The crowd erupted into applause, some rising to their feet. Candace shifted uncomfortably, her practiced smirk trembling. She muttered a retort, but it was swallowed by the momentum that Jasmine had seized. But Jasmine wasn't done. She leaned back slightly, her eyes sweeping the room, her words broadening beyond Candace to address the very cultural divide at stake. "For too long," she said, "people have confused being the loudest in the room with being the most right. For too long, arrogance has passed for confidence, and insult has passed for argument. But I refuse to play that game, because I know who I am, I know who I serve, and I know why I'm here. And I promise you, it's not for the applause of people cheering chaos." The audience roared again, clapping and shouting. Jasmine let the applause wash over her, but didn't rush. She understood the rhythm of the moment, the music of timing. She waited until the cheers softened, then continued with a voice steady as stone. "My opponent here wants you to believe that shouting someone down is victory. But I've lived my life fighting battles she's only ever performed about. I've stood in courtrooms defending people who didn't have a voice. I've worked in communities where people weren't screaming, they were just trying to survive. And I've learned something along the way. Power isn't in how loud you speak. and how much truth your words carry. It was the mic drop moment, and everyone knew it. The crowd's reaction was thunderous jeers, claps, people rising to record history on their phones. Candace, visibly rattled, tried once again to cut in. "That's not," she began, her voice breaking under the weight of the moment. But Jasmine didn't even look at her. She turned toward the audience and delivered the finishing strike. "So, yes, Candace," you screamed, but I stood. Everyone here saw the difference. The room erupted, louder than ever. Applause shook the stage. Chant even began in one corner, echoing up into the rafters. The cameras zoomed in on Jasmine's face, calm, unflinching, victorious. Across from her, Candace looked small, not because she wasn't speaking, but because, for once, her words no longer held the room. And then, with timing as sharp as a blade, Jasmine delivered the line that would reverberate across social media, news outlets, and late-night talk shows. "For weeks, you cannot silence dignity. You can only expose yourself trying." The explosion of applause was deafening. Hashtags exploded online. Hashtag silence vs scream. Hashtag dignity wins. Hashtag Jasmine mic drop. In minutes, clips of her takedown would rack up hundreds of thousands of views, framed with captions like "This is how you handle a bully," and "The difference between class and chaos." Candace sat stiffly, her face a mix of disbelief and frustration. For someone who had built an entire brand on controlling the room, she had just been outmaneuvered without her opponent raising her voice above conversational level. The debate moderator, struggling to regain order, barely managed to interject before the crowd drowned him out with applause. Jasmine had not just responded. She had transformed the entire event into a moment of cultural clarity. The villain had been unmasked, and the hero had claimed the stage. But this was only the beginning, because what happened on that stage was about to spill far beyond its walls. Clips would ignite firestorms online. Commentators would dissect every second. Celebrities would weigh in. And politicians across the aisle would scramble to attach themselves to the moment. The ripple effects were already spreading. Even as the applause thundered on, and what followed next would prove that Jasmine's words were not just a victory on stage. They were the spark of a shockwave that no one could have predicted. The echoes of Jasmine Crockett's words were still vibrating through the auditorium long after the debate ended. People poured into the night air buzzing like they had just witnessed history. The crowd outside looked less like the aftermath of a political forum and more like fans leaving a sold-out concert. Clusters of students huddled together replaying her lines, holding up phones to show each other shaky clips, already editing them into bite-sized reels that would spread like wildfire. On Twitter, the storm was immediate. Within an hour, hashtag dignity wins trended across the country. Side-by-side split-screen clips of Candace's red-faced scream and Jasmine's calm, collected reply were plastered across timelines. One caption read, "This is the difference between noise and leadership." Another simply said she stood, and that's all that mattered. Instagram Reels took on a life of their own. Creators slowed down the exact moment Jasmine leaned in and asked, "Are you done?" They paired it with dramatic background music, turning her restraint into a cinematic knockout punch. TikTok stitched the clip with everything from Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches to Beyoncé. "SI was here." The cultural imagination had seized the moment. And Jasmine Crockett wasn't just a politician anymore. She was becoming a symbol. Cable news anchors scrambled to adjust their talking points. That night, CNN ran a segment titled "The Power of Calm," Crockett's viral moment. On MSNBC, a panel of analysts replayed her response frame by frame, marveling at how she flipped the dynamic without raising her voice. Even conservative outlets, though begrudging, couldn't ignore the virality. One Fox News commentator sneered, "It was rehearsed theater." But the clips told a different story. Unrehearsed, undeniable. Celebrities joined the chorus. Kerry Washington tweeted, "Grace under fire." That's leadership. Ava DuVernay posted the clip on Instagram with the caption, "Study this. The art of dismantling hate without raising your voice." By midnight, Jasmine had gained over 200,000 new followers on social media, and it wasn't just online chatter. The moment began to ripple into real communities. College students shared it in group chats as inspiration before midterms. Community organizers used the clip to rally support for voter drives, framing Jasmine as proof that dignity could stand against division. One viral thread told the story of a young Latina girl watching with her family, whispering to her mother, "She looks like us, she talks like us, and she's not afraid." That single tweet amassed over 1 million likes. Meanwhile, Candace Owens found herself in the eye of a very different storm. Memes flooded the internet, portraying her as the loudspeaker with no signal. Cartoon caricatures exaggerated her screaming face, contrasted with Jasmine's serene calmness. For a woman who had built her career on dominating the room, this was unfamiliar territory, being remembered not for her argument, but for losing control. But perhaps the most significant ripple wasn't on social media or in celebrity posts. It was in the quiet conversations happening around kitchen tables, dorm rooms, and barbershops. People weren't just laughing at Candace's outburst. They were reflecting on what Jasmine represented: dignity in the face of chaos, composure as power, representation as resilience. By the next morning, headlines captured the shift. Crockett outshines Owens in viral debate moment. The calm that silenced the scream. Editorials framed the exchange as a metaphor for the broader national divide. A politics of shouting versus a politics of substance, and almost every piece echoed the same sentiment: Jasmine Crockett had done more than win a debate. She had reframed what strength could look like in American politics. Even politicians who had never mentioned her before started chiming in. Senator tweeted, "What we saw last night was grace and grit. America needs more of it." Reposted clips to connect with their own base, attaching themselves to the momentum. Jasmine's name was now in rooms it had never been in before. But as the buzz built, so did the tension. Because with every new headline, with every viral clip, one question lingered beneath the celebration. What would Jasmine do next? Would she ride the wave and step onto an even bigger stage? Or would the forces she had just embarrassed come back sharper, louder, and more determined to tear her down? And that uncertainty, that lingering suspense, was what kept people refreshing their feeds, waiting for her next move. The world had seen the mic drop. The world had cheered the calm. The shockwaves had only just begun. When the storm had passed and the headlines began to quiet, what remained wasn't just a viral clip. It was a lesson check not only into the minds of those who watched, but into the heart of a nation weary of shouting matches and empty spectacle, because in that moment, Jasmine Crockett had proven something bigger than a single debate. She showed that strength is not measured in decibels, but in dignity. She showed that leadership is not about overpowering your opponent, but about outlasting their noise. And she showed that for every scream meant to silence, there is a calm voice ready to rise and be heard. Audiences replayed the moment, not just because it was entertaining, but because it felt affirming. For immigrants who had been told they didn't belong, Jasmine's steady presence said, "You do." For women who had been shouted down in classrooms, boardrooms, or family tables, her calm rebuttal felt like vindication. For every person who had ever chosen grace over retaliation, Jasmine proved that restraint was not weakness, it was power. That is why her words lingered long after the debate ended. They became more than a clapback. They became a parable, reminder that in an age of noise, silence, when wielded with intention, can roar louder than any scream. And there was something deeply American in that lesson. The idea that true patriotism isn't about volume or venom, but about holding steady when provoked. About embodying the very ideals a nation claims to stand for: liberty, justice, and equality. Jasmine's moment wasn't just for progressives or her base. It was for anyone who had grown tired of politics reduced to performance. It was a callback to substance, to character, to courage. Even those who disagreed with her policies had to admit that what unfolded on that stage transcended party lines. This wasn't about left versus right anymore. It was about chaos versus composure, about fear versus dignity, about who we are as a people when pushed to the edge. In classrooms, teachers began showing the clip as an example of debate etiquette. In churches, pastors referenced it as a model of a gentle answer turning away wrath. In homes, parents pointed to it as proof that their children didn't have to shout to be strong. Slowly, the clip stopped being just a meme and started becoming a mirror reflecting back the kind of leadership people longed for. But beneath the inspiration was also a warning. Because moments like these are rare and fragile. They remind us that dignity wins only if people choose to defend it. They remind us that silence only roars when the crowd refuses to be distracted by the scream. And they remind us that progress depends not on one hero, but on countless ordinary people willing to embody that same calm, that same resilience in their own lives. That was Jasmine Crockett's gift to the audience that night. Not just a viral takedown, but a lasting truth that the power to transform culture lies not in the hands of those who scream the loudest, but in those who choose to stand their ground with grace. And as the lights dimmed on that stage and the world moved forward, her lesson remained burning in the hearts of millions who now saw themselves reflected in her strength. Because sometimes the greatest revolution is not a shout. It's a whisper that refuses to be drowned out. And what Jasmine gave the world that night was the whisper heard around the nation. The stage may have gone dark, but the echoes of that night still reverberate. Candace Owens came armed with volume, with venom, with the intent to dominate the room. Yet it was Jasmine Crockett, with her calm, measured voice, who walked away owning the moment. And in that contrast lies the story of our times. The scream may grab attention, but it is dignity that endures. For millions watching, that moment was more than political theater, it was a mirror. A reminder that our truest strength isn't in how loud we shout, but in how deeply we stand in our values. Jasmine's calm reply wasn't just for Candace. It was for every immigrant who has been told they don't belong, for every young activist dismissed as too much, for every person who has faced hostility and chosen resilience instead of rage. But here's the truth. The story doesn't end on that stage. It continues with us. Whether we amplify the scream or the calm, whether we share outrage or share inspiration, whether we let dignity die in the noise or carry it forward as a standard for the kind of politics we demand. That's why this channel exists, to remind us that we are not powerless spectators, but participants in the unfolding drama of democracy. And if you felt even